All right, so get ready, because today we're diving deep into protein.
Diving deep, yeah.
And here's the catch.
Okay.
Not the stuff you usually hear, like, eat your protein.
Right.
This is different.
Yeah.
You guys sent us some research, and it's from this Japanese YouTube channel called Dr. Anu's Seminar Channel.
Okay.
And let me tell you, it's making us rethink everything we thought we knew about protein.
It's pretty out there, yeah.
Like, serious.
Yeah, Dr. Inu, he doesn't just say protein is, like, good for you or whatever.
Right.
He's like, straight up, a protein deficiency, that's what illness is.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, that's a bold statement.
That's a big claim. So that's what we're diving into today.
Okay.
We're going deep into his research to see, like, is he really onto something here?
Yeah.
Or is this just another, like, fad diet?
Right, another health fad.
Yeah, exactly.
So he starts off
Okay.
by calling protein, like, the MVP of nutrients. Like, people are always talking about vitamins.
Right, vitamins,
Minerals, antioxidants.
all that.
All that stuff. But he's like,
Right.
protein, that's the foundation.
Okay.
Everything else is built on that.
Interesting.
Literally, it's the building block for your cells, your hormones,
Wow.
even your DNA.
Okay, so that part isn't all that crazy.
Right.
I mean, we kind of already knew that protein was important, right?
Yeah, but then he goes on about this dynamic equilibrium thing.
Dynamic equilibrium, what is that?
So he's basically saying our bodies are constantly breaking down old proteins
Okay,
and building up new ones.
Right.
It's like this constant cycle, right?
makes sense.
But when we don't eat enough protein,
Yeah.
that whole system, it gets out of whack.
Okay, so you're saying, like, our bodies are, like, juggling. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And the protein is what's keeping all the balls in the air.
Yeah, like a delicate balancing act.
Okay, I like that analogy.
All your essential functions, they're the balls. Energy, cell repair, your immune system, everything.
And protein keeps them all going.
Keeps them up there, yeah.
So what happens, like, if you don't have enough protein, you just start dropping the balls?
That's exactly what he says.
Oh, no.
He says this disruption, this inability to maintain that protein balance,
Yeah.
that's at the root of, like, a lot of health problems.
So it's not just about, like, feeling tired or sore after a workout?
No, not even close.
Wow. Okay.
We're talking chronic fatigue, a weakened immune system, even, like, faster aging.
What? Seriously?
He's convinced when that protein cycle is chronically messed up,
Yeah.
that's when it shows up as illness.
Okay, that's kind of scary, but also fascinating.
Right.
So, like, how much protein are we talking about needing here to keep all those balls in the air?
Well, he gets pretty specific about that.
Okay, lay it on me.
He recommends 1 gram of protein every day for every kilogram of body weight.
Okay, so for our listener, let's say you weigh 150 pounds. That translates to, like, what, 75 grams of protein a day?
Around that.
Can you even get that much protein from food alone?
That's where it gets tricky, yeah.
Right.
He admits it's tough to hit that target from just your diet.
Even if you're, like, eating steak for every meal?
Even then, yeah, it's a
Oh.
challenge.
So what's the solution?
He's a big advocate for supplementing, specifically with whey protein.
Whey protein, okay. Isn't that, like, a bodybuilder thing?
Yeah, you see those guys chugging it down.
Exactly.
But he's not talking about, like, bulking up or anything.
Okay.
He specifically recommends WPI, whey protein isolate.
What's the difference?
It's basically a really pure form of whey protein.
Okay.
Absorbs really quickly.
So it's like a straight shot of protein to your system.
Exactly. Your body can use it right away.
Makes sense. But wouldn't that much protein, like, mess with your stomach?
Yeah, that's a common concern.
Like, I've heard of people getting, like, digestive issues from too much protein powder.
It's definitely not a good idea to, like, go all in overnight.
Right.
Dr. New actually warns against that. Okay, good to know.
Especially if you're not used to taking protein supplements.
Right.
Or if you have any kind of dietary restrictions,
So what does he suggest? Like, slowly work your way up?
Yeah, exactly. Start with a smaller amount.
Makes sense.
And then gradually increase it over time.
And how long are we talking here?
He even mentions that for
Yeah.
some people, like those coming from super restrictive diets.
Okay.
It could take, like, a year or two.
A year or two? Seriously?
That's right, a year or two to get up to that recommended intake.
Wow, that's wild. What's going on in the body that it takes that long to adjust?
So our bodies, they make these things called enzymes,
Right.
and those help break down protein.
Okay.
But if you're not eating a lot of protein,
Yeah.
your body's like, well, why bother making all these enzymes?
Right. It's like, what a waste of energy.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it slows down production. Interesting. So it's like your body's saying, you bring the protein, I'll bring the enzymes, no more, no less.
Exactly. It's all about supply and demand.
Right. Wow, that's so cool how the body works.
Right. It's amazing.
So then if you suddenly hit it with a ton of protein, it's like, whoa, hold on, I need more workers in here.
Exactly. Your body doesn't have the enzyme workforce to handle it.
And that's when you get those digestive issues.
Yep, exactly.
So you got to ease into it, give your body time to catch up, build up that enzyme production again.
It's like retraining your gut almost.
That's a great way to put it.
And this is especially important for people who've been on, like, really restrictive diets for a long time.
Like what?
Like, people who are mostly fruitarian.
Okay.
Or those who do, like, prolonged fasting.
Interesting.
He's seen cases where it takes him, like, 1 to 2 years to handle more protein without problems.
Wow. That's a long time.
Yeah, it really shows how much our past diets can affect how our bodies deal with nutrients now.
It's like your body has to relearn how to handle that much protein.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's pretty fascinating.
It really is. Okay, so we've talked about how much protein Dr. Inu recommends and how to slowly increase how much you're eating. But, like, why is he so passionate about protein in the first place?
Right, right.
I mean, we know it's important, but he's saying it's like the key to unlocking your health potential.
Yeah, it's a big claim.
That's a big claim.
It is. And to be fair, not everything he's found has been, like, rigorously tested in clinical trials or anything.
Okay, so take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But his observations from treating his patients,
Yeah.
they're pretty interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
He sees protein as essential for, like, not just physical health,
Right.
but mental health too.
Really? I never really thought about those two being connected.
It's a growing area of research, actually.
Ah, interesting.
Like, there's this whole thing called the gut-brain axis.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that, but I don't really know what it is.
So basically, your gut and your brain,
Yeah.
they're constantly talking to each other.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild.
So what does that have to do with protein?
Well, protein is super important for a healthy gut microbiome.
Okay, and the microbiome is like all the bacteria in your gut, right?
Exactly. Trillions of little bacteria.
And those can affect your brain?
That's what the research is showing, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. So if your gut microbiome is messed up, it can actually mess with your mental health.
That's the idea.
Huh, wild. And Dr. Anu has seen this with his own patients.
He says he's seen some pretty amazing improvements in his patients' mental health after they up their protein intake.
Like what kind of improvements?
He's reported seeing higher energy levels,
Okay.
better stress management, even some big improvements for people struggling with depression.
Wow, that's incredible. And he attributes all of that to protein.
He does, yeah.
So he thinks that by like giving your body the building blocks it needs,
Right.
you're basically setting the stage for better mental health.
That's his theory. And
Yeah.
it's pretty compelling when you think about it.
It really is. But hold on, isn't he a psychiatrist? Like, does he have his patients ditch their meds and just chug protein shake?
Oh, no, not at all. He's not saying protein is a replacement for, like, traditional treatments or anything.
Okay, good.
But he has observed that
Yeah.
as patients improve their gut health
Mm-hmm.
and eat more protein,
Yeah.
some of them find they don't need as much medication.
Really?
Or in some cases,
Yeah.
they can even stop taking some medications altogether.
Wait, are you serious? Just from eating more protein?
It's important to note that these are just observations, not like a controlled study or anything.
Right, of course.
And you should always talk to your doctor before changing your medication.
Absolutely, always, always.
But yeah, he's seen cases where people with things like hypothyroidism
Wow.
or iron deficiency were able to reduce or even completely stop taking their meds after increasing their protein intake significantly.
That is wild.
Yeah.
So he's found this, like, unexpected link between protein and how our bodies handle medication.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense when you think about it.
How so?
Well, we were just talking about enzymes, right?
Yeah.
Protein is essential for making enzymes.
Right.
And enzymes are involved in tons of bodily processes,
Right, like basically everything.
including how your body breaks down and uses medication.
Oh, wow, I never thought about it like that.
So if you're not eating enough protein,
Yeah.
your body might not be able to use those medications as effectively.
So it's not just about the medication itself, it's about giving your body the tools it needs to actually use that medication.
Exactly. It's all connected.
This is blowing my mind. We're going so deep here.
Right. This is a deep dive.
Okay, so we've talked about how much protein to eat, how to increase your intake, and why Dr. Anu is so passionate about protein. But there's one more thing I'm curious about.
Okay, what's that?
He seems really set on whey protein, specifically WPI.
Right.
Why not just get your protein from, like, beans and rice?
That's a great question.
Like, why whey protein and why that specific type?
That gets to the heart of why Dr. Anu is such a big believer in supplementation in general.
Okay, I'm listening.
He says that while, yeah, you can get protein from plants,
Right.
whey protein, and especially WPI, it just has a better effect.
Okay, but what does that mean? Like, what makes it so special?
It comes down to two things.
Yeah.
How fast your body absorbs it,
Okay.
and the types of amino acids it has.
Okay, break that down for me.
So first, absorption.
Yeah.
WPI gets absorbed super quickly. Like those amino acids, the building blocks of protein.
Yeah.
They're ready to go almost instantly.
Wow, that's fast.
And Dr. Anu thinks that's really important for getting all those benefits we've been talking about.
So it's like a quick and easy protein boost for your body.
Exactly. Like a shot of protein straight to your system.
I like it. Okay, so that's absorption. What about the amino acids?
Right. So WPI has all 9 essential amino acids.
Okay, and those are the ones our bodies can't make on their own, right?
Exactly. We have to get them from food.
Okay, got it.
And not only that, but WPI has them in the exact ratios our bodies need.
So it's like the perfect protein package.
Exactly. It's considered a complete protein. A lot of plant-based protein sources, they don't have all 9 essential amino acids.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or they don't have them in the right amounts.
Interesting. So you might have to eat a lot more of those plant-based proteins to get the same benefits.
Exactly. And even then, your body might not be able to use it as efficiently.
Wow. Okay, I'm seeing the appeal of whey protein now.
Yeah, Dr. Anu actually says that for some people,
Yeah.
like those who are on restrictive diets
Yeah.
or who have certain health problems, WPI can be a game changer.
Wow. He's really putting whey protein on a pedestal here.
He's definitely a believer, yeah.
It's like he's saying, look, if you want to optimize your health, this is the way to do it.
He really does believe in the power of protein,
Yeah.
especially whey protein.
Okay, so we've talked about the benefits of upping your protein intake. We talked about taking it slow and the potential role of whey protein, especially WPI. But before we move on, I'm curious about Dr. Anu himself.
Okay.
He's not just advocating for this, right? He lives this way, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. Dr. Fujikawa actually consumes a significant amount of protein daily himself.
How much are we talking about?
Around 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight, mostly through whey protein supplements.
Wow, so he's not just talking the talk, he's walking the walk.
Exactly. He truly believes in what he's saying.
So he's actually eating more protein than he recommends for, like, optimal health.
He is. He's found that this higher intake works best for him personally.
Okay, so it's not like a one-size-fits-all thing.
Exactly. Everyone is different.
Right.
He really stresses that finding the right amount of protein for you might take a bit of experimenting.
So, like, listen to your body, start slow, and see how you feel.
Exactly. It's all about finding what works best for you.
This has been so eye-opening. But before we wrap up, is there anything we missed? What else has Dr. Anu found in his research? So much to unpack here.
Yeah, it's a lot.
This whole thing about it taking like a year or two to adjust to a higher protein intake, that's just crazy to me.
It really highlights how adaptable our bodies are.
Right. Like they get used to whatever we're feeding them and then they're like, okay, this is the new normal.
Exactly. It's like if you're not eating much protein,
Yeah.
your body's like, okay, we don't need to waste energy making a bunch of enzymes to digest it.
And then you suddenly start loading up on protein shakes.
And your body's like, whoa, hold on. Where are all these enzymes? We need more workers over here.
That's a great analogy. I can just picture those little enzymes being like, help, we're in over our heads.
Exactly. And then you end up with digestive issues because your body just can't keep up.
So slow and steady wins the protein race, I guess.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And it makes you realize how much our past diets can impact our health in ways we might not even realize.
Right. It's like our bodies are always playing catch up.
In a way, yeah. And it's even more crucial for people who've been on really restrictive diets for a long time.
Like those fruitarians we were talking about?
Exactly. Or people who practice prolonged fasting.
Those are pretty extreme examples, though.
They are, but it illustrates the point that our bodies need time to adapt.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've covered the how much and the how-to when it comes to protein.
Right.
But let's go back to the why.
Okay, yeah.
Why is Dr. Anu so convinced that protein is like the ultimate key to unlocking our health potential?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It's a big claim.
It is, and to be completely transparent, not all of his findings have been, like, scientifically proven in those big clinical trials you hear about.
So some grain of salt, as always.
Exactly. But his observations from treating patients are definitely intriguing.
Okay, I'm listening.
One of the most fascinating things is that he sees protein as essential not just for physical health,
Right, we kind of covered that.
but for mental health, too.
Really? I never really made that connection before.
It's a growing area of research, actually.
Huh, interesting. Tell me more about that.
Well, you've probably heard of the gut-brain axis, right?
Yeah, it's like all the rage these days, but I'll be honest, I don't really get what it is.
Basically, it means your gut and your brain are in constant communication.
What? Really? I thought they were totally separate systems.
No, they're totally linked.
That's wild. How does that even work?
Well, there are all sorts of ways they communicate, but a big one is through your gut microbiome.
Right. All those trillions of bacteria that live in your gut.
Exactly, and those bacteria play a huge role in your overall health, including your mental health.
So what you're saying is, if your gut microbiome is out of whack, your mental health could suffer.
That's the idea. And you know what's crucial for a healthy gut microbiome?
Let me guess. Protein.
Bingo.
Wow, it all comes back to protein.
It seems to, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, Dr. Anu has seen this firsthand with his own patients.
You're saying he's had patients who've seen improvements in their mental health just from eating more protein.
That's what he's observed, yeah.
Like what kind of improvements are we talking about?
He's reported seeing everything from increased energy levels and better stress management to even some pretty significant improvements in people struggling with depression.
Whoa, seriously, just from protein. That's incredible.
It is pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, what else are we overlooking when it comes to the power of protein?
I know, right? It's like we're just scratching the surface.
Exactly. And it's not just about, like, eliminating symptoms. Dr. Anu sees protein as a way to, like, fundamentally improve your body's internal environment so everything works better.
So by giving your body the building blocks it needs,
Right, the raw materials.
you're basically setting the stage for better health overall, both physically and mentally.
That's the idea.
That's actually a really empowering way to think about it.
It is, isn't it? Like, we have more control over our health than we realize.
Absolutely. But hold on a second. I have a question.
Okay, shoot.
Dr. Anu, he's a psychiatrist, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So is he telling his patients to ditch their meds and just chug protein shakes?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay, good, because that would be a little concerning.
He's not advocating replacing traditional treatments with protein or anything like that.
Right, right.
But he has observed some interesting things with his patients who do increase their protein intake.
Okay, like what?
Well, he's seen that as they improve their gut health and eat more protein, some of them find they don't need as much medication.
Really?
Or in some cases, they can even, like, eliminate certain medications entirely.
Wait, are you serious? Just from eating more protein?
It's important to remember that these are just observations, not a controlled study or anything.
Right, of course.
And you should always talk to your doctor before changing your medication.
Absolutely. Never mess with your meds without talking to your doctor first.
Exactly. But it's still fascinating.
Yeah, it is, yeah. So he's basically saying that by increasing your protein intake, you could potentially reduce your reliance on certain medications.
That's what he's observed in some cases, yeah. He's had patients with things like hypothyroidism or iron deficiency who are able to reduce or even completely stop taking their meds after upping their protein intake significantly.
That is wild. But how does that even work? It's not like protein is a magic pill.
No, but it's involved in so many bodily processes.
Right, like those enzymes we were talking about.
Exactly. Enzymes are crucial for how your body metabolizes and utilizes medication.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it like that.
So if you're deficient in protein, your body might not be able to use those medications as effectively.
So it's like you could be taking the medication, but your body isn't absorbing it properly because it doesn't have the tools it needs.
Exactly. It's all connected. Protein is like the foundation that everything else is built on.
This is blowing my mind. We're really diving deep into the rabbit hole of protein here.
Right. It's fascinating stuff. And it makes you realize how much we still don't know about nutrition and how it all works.
I know, right? It's like the more we learn, the more we realize we don't know.
Exactly. But that's what makes it so exciting, right? There's always more to discover.
Okay, so we've talked about the how much, the how-to, and the why behind Dr. Anu's protein philosophy.
Right.
We've talked about how it can impact your mental health, even how your body processes medication.
It's pretty mind-blowing stuff.
It really is. But there's one more thing I want to touch on before we wrap up.
Okay, what's that?
Dr. Inu, he's very specific about recommending whey protein, particularly WPI.
Right, he's a big fan of WPI.
But why? Why not just tell people to get their protein from, like, beans and rice or tofu or something?
That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of why Dr. Inu believes so strongly in supplementation in general.
Okay, I'm listening.
He argues that while you can certainly get protein from plant-based sources, whey protein, particularly WPI, just has a superior effect.
Okay, but what does that mean? Like, what makes it so special?
It comes down to two key factors:
Mm.
how quickly your body absorbed it, and its amino acid profile. WPI is absorbed incredibly quickly by the body, meaning those amino acids, the building blocks of protein, are available for use almost immediately.
So it's like your body can put those amino acids to work right away.
Exactly. And Dr. Anu thinks that rapid absorption is crucial for getting all those benefits we've been discussing.
So it's like giving your body a quick and efficient protein boost.
Exactly. The second factor is its amino acid profile. WPI contains all 9 essential amino acids, and in the right ratios that our bodies need. This makes it a complete protein.
And a lot of plant-based proteins aren't complete proteins.
Many of them aren't. Or they might not have the essential amino acids in the optimal ratios.
So even if you're eating a lot of plant-based protein, your body might not be able to use it as efficiently.
That's the idea. And for people who are on restrictive diets or those struggling with certain health conditions, that difference in efficiency can be a game changer.
So he's not saying that plant-based protein is bad.
Not at all.
It's just that whey protein, especially WPI, is like the VIP of the protein world.
Exactly. It's like he's found the protein Ferrari, and he's saying, hey, if you want to optimize your health, this is the vehicle to get you there.
I like that analogy. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have. It's been a deep dive into the world of protein.
It really has. We've talked about the benefits of increased protein intake, the importance of easing into it.
And the potential role of whey protein, particularly WPI, in supporting our health goals.
Right. But before we move on, I'm curious about Dr. Inu himself.
Okay.
He's not just advocating for this, right? He actually lives this way, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. Dr. Fujikawa consumes a significant amount of protein daily himself.
How much are we talking?
Around 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight, mostly through whey protein supplements.
Wow. He's putting his money where his mouth is, so to speak.
He truly believes in what he's saying. He's not just talking the talk. He's walking the protein walk.
So he's actually eating more protein than he recommends for optimal health. I thought that 1 gram per kilogram of body weight was the magic number.
He's found that this higher intake works best for him personally, but it's important to remember that everyone is different.
So what works for Dr. Inu might not work for everyone else.
Exactly. Just like with everything else we've talked about, it's about finding what works best for you. He suggests starting slowly, listening to your body, and experimenting a bit to find your sweet spot.
So there's no one-size-fits-all approach to protein intake?
Not at all. Everyone is unique, and our protein needs can vary based on a lot of factors.
This has been so eye-opening, but before we wrap up, is there anything we missed? What else has Dr. Inu found in his research? This has been, I don't know, kind of eye-opening.
Right, a lot to think about.
Yeah, like I never really thought of protein as being this like foundational thing for your health.
It's easy to get caught up in the weeds of like specific vitamins and minerals.
Right, exactly.
But protein, it really is the building block for everything.
It's like the foundation of the house, you know? If you don't have a strong foundation, the whole thing is going to crumble.
Exactly. It's like you've been saying, Dr. Anu's research really challenges us to rethink our priorities when it comes to nutrition.
It really does. So for our listener, like, what are the key takeaways you want them to remember from this deep dive?
I think the most important thing is to start seeing protein as like the cornerstone of your health.
Okay.
Not just something you think about after you've already got your fruits, vegetables, and everything else.
So like flip the script on how we usually think about food.
Exactly.
Instead of, oh, I need to eat more fruits and vegetables, it's how much protein am I getting?
Right. Make protein the priority.
I like it. It's a whole new way of looking at things.
And while Dr. Anu's research is really fascinating, it's important to like be smart about it.
Right. Don't just go out and buy a year's supply of whey protein just because we talked about it on this episode.
Exactly. Always talk to your doctor before making any big changes to your diet.
Absolutely, especially if you have any underlying health conditions.
Right. Your doctor knows your medical history.
Yeah.
They can give you personalized advice.
Exactly. So maybe think of this as like a permission slip to start a conversation with your doctor about protein.
I love that.
Like, go to your next appointment and be like, hey, doc, I was listening to this podcast.
And they were talking about this Japanese doctor
who's obsessed with protein.
Now I have some questions.
Exactly. And come prepared, you know?
Right. Like share what you learned from this deep dive and be open to hearing what they have to say.
Exactly. It's all about being proactive and advocating for your own health.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive, I have to say.
It has been fascinating.
Learned a ton about protein, that's for sure.
Me too. Always fun to explore these unconventional ideas.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe this will spark some more research and we'll have even more to talk about in the future.
I'm always up for another deep dive into the world of nutrition.
Me too. All right, that's it for today, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this protein-packed journey. Until next time, stay curious.
Stay healthy.